The anime starts by telling a story of an old war which happened ages ago between human beings and monsters. It ended when both sides felt exhausted and decided to live together, and the result was a community of humans, monsters, and a mix of them. As the Dr. Glenn and his nurse were invited by Kotolhi to a very big hospital in order to gain more experiences and to develop his medical treatments. When they arrived to their destination, they were supposed to do a body diagnostic for some fighters of the 3rd level. Most of them were half animals. One of the fighters was the princess, who was doing great appearance. At the end of the day, when the doctor and his nurse ended their work and packed their stuff to leave, 2 servants came to ask about the princess and how was her diagnostic. They seemed to be concerned and they revealed one of the princess' problems, which was her inability to win any of her last battles. Tisalia was born in a family of talented creatures and she used to win easily, but lately she struggled with that. The doctor spent the night thinking about the problem, but Savandito invited him for a drink to forget about that. In the next morning, when she lost another battle, Glenn revealed that he figured out the secret behind her loss. It was all about her hoof. She was forced to place a horse hoof and it appeared later that it was the right thing to do, and it helped her to win more battles. In the next episode, Glenn and Savandito went to shop together for the clinic on a boat. They took all what they needed. On their way back, the guide told them about the Mermaids Festival, which happens every year in the same night. As they were still talking, the young mermaid invited them to visit her store in a very polite way, so they couldn't resist and they went to see her. As they arrived, she offered them to sing a song which will increase their love to each other. The doctor decided to pay for her services in another method. He told her after hearing the song, he will make a full diagnostic to her body, and she agreed. Her voice was so flawless, but suddenly, while singing, she started coughing. The doctor stopped her and asked the guide to take them to an isolated corner in order to see whether she had a problem or not. As he started looking through her mouth, he discovered a disease in her throat and her gills as well. But before revealing the result of his test, she told him about her financial bad situation and that she worked hard in order to feed her 3 siblings. And before she ends her words, a little boy fell in the river, so she jumped to save him. When she brought him back, she was feeling exhausted and fell as well. As the doctor finished reanimating the kid, he realized that the mermaid was sinking, so he jumped to save her and tried to make her breathe underwater, but at the end, Savandito saved them both. After a strict treatment, the mermaid recovered and started singing in the center of the city where she could earn more money to help her mom in raising her other siblings, so she thanked the doctor for all what he did. As usual, the clinic was doing her daily work when suddenly the representative of the city, whose name Dragonfeld, knocked the door. It happened that the city was thriving one, due to Dragonfeld's hard work in addition to the help of one of his dragon relatives. The representative came to help his assistant to get her arm back since she lost it while she was fighting a group of bandits. The assistant was named Kunai. She was a realization of an experience aiming at matching different organs from different bodies to create a human being. Dragonfeld left his assistant in the clinic to get her treatment, but as soon as she left, Kunai left as well, while saying that she can manage her problems and she would find her arm on her own. However, the band-aid surprised her out this time too. When she went out, Glenn followed her to search for the missing arm, and while he was in the street, people started screaming when they found a leg. The doctor recognized it from the first sight as she belonged to Kunai, and when he was walking again trying to find the owner of that leg, his friend the mermaid interrupted to say hi, but at the same time, she found the missing arm. They cleaned those organs together. Right after that, Glenn found the assistant and decided to help her in placing back her organs and ended his work by night. When he went back to the clinic, his nurse surprised him with her pregnancy news. It turned out later she was only joking about that by hiding an egg under her clothes. And while they were talking, Savandito saw a group of bandits coming in, so she took her partner and ran out. Those thieves were tracking the doctor since they saw him helping Kunai. When the couple stopped to take a breath, the servant appeared from the darkness and revealed that she would protect them. She also explained how she has been studying this case since a very long time and she could discover some illegal activities done by those guys. And since they didn't have any other place to go, they had to stay with the servant and to help her in this mission. So they went to the stash of those bandits. Dragonfeld and Ludala were also ready to go, and when they approached to a bridge, some bad guys tried to stop them, but luckily the princess was there for help. The boat kept moving forward until they arrived to their destination. The leader was waiting for them, but Kunai decided to face him alone, while the others took their way to save the hostages. He found 4 birds, one female of them was badly sick, so he tried to help her while the others covered his back. Savandito kept protecting them all, but someone stabbed her with a poisoned sword, so she fainted. When she opened her eyes again, she found out that everything got finished in a good way and they could save everyone. couple of days later, the doctor and the nurse were going to a village with the princess and her two other servants, Kay and Lurna. On the way up in the mountain, a soy drift occurred and caused some bad injuries to Kay. When she couldn't walk, a group of flying men from the closest village came to guide them and offered their help. When they reached the houses, Kay took the necessary treatment and was obliged to stay at home. On the other side, Glenn and Seventito kept giving medical instruction and helping the other monsters. It turned out later that Lurna and Kay cannot work unless if they were together for some personal reasons, so the team had to work on that problem because the princess always needs help. And the next day, when Kay felt much better, there was an injured female bird from the stash who had been saved by the doctor. However, she refused to see him this time unless if the princess would be there as well. When they went to her house in order to do some tests, Glenn told her that she was totally fine even when she couldn't fly. The poor girl couldn't accept this truth and shouted angrily on everyone in the room. Later, the princess went to talk to her, a girl's talk and stuff, and since they were both interested in fighting, the princess wanted to teach her a lesson about respecting people. At the end of the fight, Tesalia could know more details about that little girl's dream to leave the village. So she told the doctor about all what she knew while he was treating her wounds. And the next morning, Ellie, the girl, disappeared, but they found her later in the woods where the doctor explained that she was losing fever as a sign of growth and she will be okay in the next day, and it happened. And the next morning, while the two medical assistants were planning to go back to their clinic in the city, another problem appeared. The woods were full of sticky filaments. Glenn knew directly that it was due to the presence of a spider-like creature, so they went to discover it. Seventito recognized her friend. It was called Aranya, and she was putting her traps everywhere in order to catch a unique bird which looked exactly like Ellie. They escorted her to the village to allow her to touch Ellie as it was her wish, but the little bird freaked out and flew away. At night, Glenn and his nurse were having a drink and talking about the experience they had in that village, when suddenly they heard a loud sound outside coming from the mountains. And an old man revealed an old story which says that a big monster came once to that village and destroyed everything, and it might be the same case that time. The sound kept getting closer, so the princess gave orders to everyone in order to save as many people as possible. Cecilia, Siva, and Glenn went to meet the beast and to convince him to stay away. As they found him, it turned out that she was a female and she was only looking for a doctor since she heard about Glenn. Siva prepared the necessary cure for her, while Aranya sewed some winter clothes to protect her from the cold weather of the mountain. And at the end, she was meant to be the last patient in that village, announcing the end of their journey. Back to the city, where there was a huge founding anniversary celebration. Everything was going perfectly and Don Dragonfell fell off the stage while he was giving a speech. The doctor couldn't touch her because Kodorhi was her doctor, so he decided to visit her in the hospital to know more details about what happened exactly. He got a very warm welcome, and then they began discussing the situation of the leader. Dragonfell descended from the lineage of dragons. The disease was considered as one of the most dangerous things. She could resist the symptoms, but it was clear that she would never handle it more. All the citizens were concerned about this topic, especially Kunai. The doctor decided to sneak into the leader's room to make his own tests. The disease surprised him as it was so complicated. At the end of diagnosis, he decided to see the main doctor and to ask for help in case if the patient will agree on a surgery. They also asked Aranya for help as she knows how to use the needle and the thread. Their next mission was how to convince patient to have the surgery because she already lost hope. Mimi managed to make more needles and tools first, but she fainted while she was doing her job. And after taking some rest, she went back to the lab and showed the final result of her work on the needles, and she impressed them all. The girls Seventito, Aranya, and Tizalia spent the night together, but later it turned to be a trap to catch the spider woman. The nurse was watching her moves and realized that her friend was planning to steal the worthy tools from the clinic. They taught her a lesson in friendship and appreciated all what she did during the past days. She apologized at the end, and they kept talking for the rest of the night. And the next morning, the doctor visited his patient and she started telling him the story behind her decision about the surgery. She just believed that she did her best to create the best city on earth, and now she gave up for the disease to take her life. But then Glenn convinced her to live more and to see her city growing. The surgery got started and all the citizens were praying for their leader to get well as soon as possible. The medical crew was doing his best, hoping to save her life. In the next morning, all the monsters and humans gathered in front of the castle, and the leader gave them a war speech and took off her mask. She finally could see the city where she grew up and spent her life in building it. The life was going perfectly in that city, and all the citizens gave some gifts to the doctor to express their appreciation. Also, all the girls fall in his love, and who wouldn't? I hope you guys enjoyed the video. See you in the next time with a new anime series. Take care.